Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this video, I want to talk briefly about Kelly Osbourne. Let me just say this up front. I love Ozzy. I've always been a big fan of Ozzy. I like Kelly. Jack is great. Sharon, the whole family. I'm kind of cool. I like. But down below, there's going to be a story, TMZ, and there'll be an actual video where you can actually watch her say these words that I'm going to talk about. She makes two statements, and honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in Kelly Osbourne. I don't know if she's trying to stay relevant, because she's talking about this in the context of Matthew Perry and everything that happened to him, or if she's trying to sell a book or whatever. But she makes two statements that I'm going to talk about, and one of them seems obvious. It's just, is something that I think is obvious and doesn't need to be said. And the second one, I don't believe is, in my opinion, doesn't seem to ring true. What did she say? Okay, like I said, the video will be right down below. It's a short video, so you can actually see her say this. She's talking about rehabs and everything that happened to Matthew Perry and the allegations about doctors and all that. And she talks about rehabs. Now, unfortunately, I do have an awful lot of experience. I've been clean and sober. Let me say this first and foremost, the purpose of this video is always to stress the fact that recovery is possible. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd of 2006. I'm coming up on 18 years. Clean and sober from the hardest of hard stuff, hardest substances. I got to watch my monetization here. The last video I did got yellow lighted, the Pride video. Anyway, that's not what this is about. So, I have a lot of experience. I was in and out of 13 detoxes and rehabs. So unfortunately, I do have quite a bit of experience in this. And she makes a couple allegations, and she's kind of all down, and she's letting out this news. And I don't know, like I said, I'm kind of disappointed. The first thing she says is that these rehabs and detoxes, or these rehabs, just the people in there weren't good for her. That all they taught her was how to be a better user. To learn new tricks on how to score, I guess. There was bad people inside the rehabs that just misled her, I guess, is my point. I'm trying to watch what I'm saying here. This goes without saying. Let me say this: recovery, rehab, detox is what you make of it. I could tell you about times that I went into a detox or a rehab. Let me tell you this. One of the times that I went to alcohol and drug, ADRC it's called, Alcohol and Drug Rehabilitation Centers. I think they're all across the country. And this is one of the ones that I didn't have too high an opinion of. It was kind of like a mill. It just took people in, and there's a lot of people there that were court ordered to go there. And this is the only detox that I actually left against medical advice. I left early. And when I parked my car out there in the parking lot and went in to admit myself, I actually left two bags in the glove compartment for when I got out. So that just says what my mindset was when I went in there. I mean, these recovery centers and these detoxes are what you make of them. There's in life, in detox and rehab, there's always going to be people that do not have your best interest in mind. I used to be one of those people. Back when I was using, I'm ashamed and embarrassed to admit this, but back when I was using, so I knew that one of my friends would be clean. He'd get a girlfriend, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't see him for 6 months. Then one night, it's somebody's birthday, and I see him again. The first thing I'm thinking, this is common addict mentality. I'm thinking, this guy got money. This guy has money. He's been clean and sober for 6 months. He's been dating a good girl and everything. He's got money. I used to do this, and I would pal up to him and get him to use a little bit, and then get him to spend all his money. I hate to say it, but I didn't care if I was the crux of his relapse. I was the reason for his relapse. And this is common addict. Not something I'm proud of, but it's common addict mentality. There's always going to be people around that want to use you for their own purposes. And that goes without saying in life, and especially it's the case when you're dealing with addicts and in rehabs and recovery. Uh, there's you have to figure out who you're going to hang around with. There's going to be cliques inside these places. There's always going to be cliques in these rehabs and these detoxes, and you got to associate with the people that have the same mentality as you. It might be something, until Kelly says that she was in, I believe, 7 rehabs. Like I said, I was in 13 of them, and you start to get the hang of it after a couple times. Unfortunately, it takes a few times, and you understand, you have to. It's what you make of it. You have to be wary of people that aren't there for their own best interest or for your best interest. So like I said, this is just something that's going to, for the last 18 years, it's something that I've dealt with in every aspect of life. I have to be careful who I associate with. There's, not everybody's going to be out for my best interests. All right, now the next thing she says, she's talking about rehabilitation. I don't know if if this is the way it is in California, but she insinuates that some of these rehabs actually have people that wait outside NA or NA meetings to entice people to relapse so they can then take them back in and charge them another $100,000 to drum up more business. This is the one where I have a hard time believing this. It's not something that I've come across. Well, the first thing that came to mind is these rehabs are not hard up for business. Every single rehab and detox that I tried to get into had no beds. Unfortunately, they have more than enough clients, even at $100,000 per visit or per stay or whatever, even the high-end ones. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend who passed away, the love of my life, Audrey, who passed away 3 years ago from COVID, she was clean and sober just like me, and she had a few years less. She would be about 12 years clean and sober right now, and she actually worked for one of the highest end rehabs here in the state of Connecticut. It's called Mountainside. And she worked her way up to the head of human resources. She hired everybody there. And, I know her mentality and the mentality of the people at this rehab, and there's just no way that these people would do something like this. They all had a mindset of recovery. Think of it this way, okay? If somebody's an exterminator, to get rid of rodents, and, say mice, and that person goes and does a house one day and then sneaks back and puts the mice back in the yard or something, and he brings them until he gets more business. Eventually or pretty soon, people are going to realize that, either he's unscrupulous and actually doing this stuff, or he's just a bad exterminator. You know what I mean? It's going to get around that, it's not a good, it doesn't even make any sense, because it's going to be common knowledge that this place is nothing but a mill. This whole allegation doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like I said, first up, they're not hard up for business. Every single place I've ever known didn't have any room for more clients. So the allegation that they're trying to drum up new clients doesn't make any sense to me. And it would get out, very quickly. It would get around that, they're not very good at what they do. Because if people are constantly returning, I mean, people, that's just the nature of the disease, but you know what I mean? It would get around. Addicts are savvy to manipulation, and I'm going to say it's pretty hard to get over on an addict, because that's one of their best things. One of the, like I said, it's all what you make of it. The very last rehab that I went into, I was there. It was actually a combination detox and rehab. I was there for 30 days. It was St. Francis Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut. And like I said, it's all what you get out, what you put into it. And by the end of my stay there, the counselors knew I was serious. All the nurses and counselors there knew I was serious, and they appointed me the person to lead the NA and AA groups each night. because we would have an NA and AA group in-house inside this. It was a lockdown. I was locked up in there, and I would lead the NA group every night. And like I said, that was because of my mentality that I truly desired to put everything into this. And I did relapse 1 or 2 times after I got out of there, which is also the nature of the disease. But I did end up getting clean and sober. So Kelly's allegations here, like I said, the first one is kind of obvious. It kind of goes without saying. There's always going to be people, in these in anywhere that are gonna not have your best interest. She said that she learned new tricks and tricks of the trade, in her addiction in these rehabs, and that, like I said, that goes without saying. You get out what you put into it. You need to stay away from, make a point to stay away from the people that don't have your best interest in mind. Otherwise, you'll never succeed in recovery. Goes without saying. And the second allegation about these rehabs, trying to manipulate or drum up business by skulking outside NA and NA meetings. The NA and AA meetings I went to were I've been to hundreds of these meetings, or if not thousands. And every single person, a lot of these people are driven. Their life is recovery. If word ever got around that somebody was hanging outside trying to, manipulate people or trying to lure people back into addiction, and they would not last long at any of the AA or NA groups I went to. They were almost militant about their recovery. And that would not fly at any of the NA and AA groups. It would quickly get around. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, what she's saying. Maybe in California it's different. Maybe amongst movie stars, it's a different world. But like I said, it's going to get out. It's not a very good business practice. And then most of all, these people these rehabs aren't hard up for customers, for clients. There's more than enough clients. There's not actually enough beds to take everybody in, even at the $100,000 level. So those are my points. The recovery is possible. The link will be down below to the TMZ story, Kelly Osbourne, and the actual video will be right on top. Have a good Tuesday.